Imagine winning an Oscar and your own mother snatches it, locks it in a bank vault, and goes, "Hey, no sequel, no statue." That actually happened, and it's not even in the top 10 worst things on this list. Old Hollywood parents were absolute supervillains. One trained attack dogs to keep his teenage daughter from sneaking out. One demanded the studio buy her kid a real live elephant as a bonus. Another convinced her son a witch cursed the family, and only an Oscar could break the spell. 81 parents who heard the word normal and ran screaming the other way. And believe me, the further we go, the dumber it gets. Smash that like, comment which one deserves jail, and subscribe to save the 3 brain cells you've got left. 1. Imagine earning millions as a kid, then turning 21 and discovering your bank account holds exactly $0. That was Jackie Coogan's nightmare. The biggest child star in the world had been bankrolling his family since toddlerhood, yet his mother and stepfather quietly torched every penny on luxury cars and a sprawling estate. The robbery was so jaw-dropping that America responded with actual legislation, the Coogan Act, a law designed purely to stop parents from raiding their own children's earnings forever. 2. Most stage moms hired acting coaches. This one booked a funeral instead. Back in 1930s Hollywood, a mother dragged her little girl to a complete stranger's burial right before an audition, hoping the grief would soak in and make the child cry on command. Real mourners, a real coffin, real sobbing, all hijacked as free emotional fuel for a tiny actress. Picture weeping over your dead relative while a kid nearby quietly practices, looking devastated. That woman weaponized somebody's worst day. 3. Forget acting coaches and motivational speeches. One 1930s stage mother kept a sharp sewing pin hidden in her palm for a reason. That will make your skin crawl. The second, a director yelled action. She would jab it straight into her child actor's back to guarantee a genuine, blood-curdling scream. No fake crying, no rehearsing, just ambush pain delivered on cue. The kid probably flinched at every camera he ever saw afterward. Directors got their perfect take, completely unaware. That woman basically invented the surprise attack and proudly filed it under loving parenting. 4. Chewing jagged marbles while reciting movie lines sounds like a medieval torture device. But one 1940s father called it a stutter cure. He handed his teenage son a fistful of sharp gravel and demanded he talk straight through it. The supposed logic was that the rocks would somehow smooth out a tiny speech bump forever. Instead, the boy chipped his teeth and nearly choked to death over and over. The stutter was barely noticeable to begin with. The dental bills, however, became absolutely legendary. Somewhere, a very confused dentist bought himself a brand new boat. 5. Scalding hot soup became a weapon the night before a huge callback, and one stage dad served it up on purpose. He wanted his little boy's throat burned just enough to sound raspy and gritty for an orphan role he was chasing. So he transformed an innocent dinner into deliberate sabotage of his own son's vocal cords. The kid showed up to the audition sounding like a tiny lifelong chain smoker. Most parents gently blow on soup to cool it down for their children. This one preheated it like a loaded weapon and called it strategy. 6. Raw onion juice blended with industrial dish soap is not a recipe for anything edible. It was one father's homemade method for forcing fake tears out of his struggling son. He rubbed the burning sludge directly into the boy's eyelids moments before a dramatic scene. The kid's eyes turned red and streaming, which was exactly what the monster wanted captured on camera. Sure, the child probably couldn't see straight for an hour afterward, but the shot looked fantastic. Most dads chop onions for a nice dinner. This one weaponized the entire produce aisle against his kid. 7. Staring directly into a blazing studio lamp for 3 straight minutes without blinking is how one father trained his young daughter. His brilliant stated goal was teaching her the hypnotic Hollywood gaze that supposedly made stars famous overnight. The grim reality was a child slowly roasting her own retinas just to look mysterious on film. No sunglasses, no breaks, no mercy, just relentless eyeball cooking until she finally mastered the smolder. Doctors would call that permanent eye damage. He proudly called it discipline. The only truly hypnotic thing in that room was his missing common sense. 8. Monsters eat lazy actors. That was the unhinged lie one 1920s. Mother told her hyperactive son right before locking him inside a pitch-black broom closet for hours at a time. She wanted to terrify him into perfect discipline, so she invented imaginary closet creatures that supposedly devoured slackers whole. The poor boy sat frozen among the mops and buckets, absolutely certain something was crawling toward him. Most parents use a simple timeout chair. This one ran a full haunted house attraction starring her own traumatized child as the permanently screaming main guest. 9. 5 in the morning, every single winter day a tiny toddler got yanked from a warm bed and plunged into freezing bathwater. Her stage mother somehow considered this an excellent daily wake-up routine. The theory was that a brutal icy shock would make the kid look wide awake and sparkly for early studio shoots. So she essentially waterboarded a baby into photogenic perfection before sunrise. The child surely grew up to despise mornings with every fiber of her being. Roosters crow gently by comparison. This woman was basically a human cold plunge that came with legal custody. 10. Permanent scalp blisters forced a young girl into heavy wigs all through her teenage years, and her own mother cheerfully approved the entire disaster. The studio simply wanted a lighter hair shade, so they poured harsh chemical bleach onto a child's head until her skin literally burned and cracked. By her teens, her natural hair was wrecked far beyond any saving. Most mothers instinctively shield their kids from exactly this kind of danger. This one held the salon door wide open, grabbed the bleach bucket herself, and personally waved the whole catastrophe right inside. 11. Healthy baby teeth ripped out of a child's mouth and swapped for painful adult caps. That was the fate Mitzi Green's parents chose for her, and the reason was pure Hollywood vanity. The studio wanted her looking older immediately, so mom and dad marched their daughter to the dentist and ordered her perfect little teeth pulled early. Imagine losing your real smile to satisfy a movie executive's schedule. Most parents save baby teeth for the tooth fairy in a tiny envelope. These two yanked them out and handed them straight to the front office. 12. A 12-year-old girl crammed into a tight adult corset to force an hourglass figure before puberty even arrived. That was Elizabeth Taylor, and the architect was her own mother, Sarah. She aggressively molded a child's body into a grown woman's silhouette, squeezing organs and ribs in the name of glamour. The girl hadn't even finished growing, yet she was already laced up like a Victorian socialite. Most mothers worry about their daughters wearing anything too tight. This one treated her kid's waist like dough she could reshape into box office gold. 13. One single bowl of clear chicken broth a day. That was the entire daily menu a studio mother allowed her 10-year-old during a growth spurt terrified the kid might gain a harmless ounce. While other children ate actual meals, this little girl survived on warm, salty water dressed up as nutrition. Her body was screaming for food precisely when it needed it most. Most parents panic when their kid skips lunch. This one served starvation a soup cup and called it preserving the brand's marketable silhouette. 14. Every single night, a 1920s boy went to sleep with a heavy custom metal clamp squeezing his nose. His stage mother had decided his nose might grow too wide for flattering close-ups, so she engineered a contraption to physically pinch it narrow while he slept. Picture trying to dream with a vice gripping your face for hours. Spoiler, noses don't work that way, and the gadget accomplished nothing but pain. Most moms tuck their kids in gently with a blanket. This one tucked in the hardware first. 15. Beneath one boy's fancy period costume hid a rigid wooden broomstick, duct taped straight down his spine. That was his stage father's quick fix for a minor posture slouch during a high-budget film. He literally turned his son into a human flagpole, immobilized and aching, purely so the kid would stand tall on camera. The boy couldn't bend, sit, or breathe comfortably for hours. Most parents nag their children to stop hunching over. This one skipped the nagging and went straight for hardware store engineering. 16. Toxic white lead paste smeared all over a child every time she stepped outside to play. That was one mother's solution for protecting her daughter's porcelain doll typecast. Terrified a tan might ruin the marketable image, she coated the girl in literal poison instead of sunscreen. Lead absorbed through young skin is genuinely dangerous, but the studio look mattered more to mom. Most parents slather on protection before outdoor fun. This one painted her kid like a haunted antique and shoved her into the sunshine to stay ghostly white. 17. Industrial spirit gum used to permanently glue a toddler's ears flat against his skull. That was one mother's at-home alternative to safe cosmetic surgery. The boy's ears stuck out a little, which apparently threatened his close-up appeal, so she reached for heavy-duty adhesive normally used for fake beards. Imagine a baby's ears cemented to his head with theatrical glue. The skin underneath surely paid the price for years. Most parents find sticking out ears adorable. This one treated her child's head like a craft project gone horribly wrong. 18. A full cup of castor oil forced down a child actor's throat every Sunday night, guaranteed to violently empty him out. His parents called it flushing extra calories he might have secretly eaten during the week. So the kid spent every Monday recovering from a parent-ordered digestive earthquake, all to stay thin for the camera. Castor oil is no gentle remedy, and the dosage was punishment dressed as health. Most families enjoy a relaxing Sunday dinner together. This one scheduled a weekly chemical purge and called it Portion Control 19. For hours on end, a 1920s child actor sat scribbling his own signature across blank sheets of paper. And it wasn't homework. His parents wanted those autographs flawless, so they could forge his name onto studio checks and quietly cash them. The kid was essentially training to make his own robbery run smoother. Most parents help with reading and arithmetic at the kitchen table. This pair coached forgery instead and treated their son's signature like a private printing press they happened to own and operate. 20. A secret cash bribe demanded directly from the studio head, or the kid simply wouldn't show up to set. That was the Shakedown 1 1930s stage father ran. He insisted on a hidden 10% management fee paid under the table, holding his own child hostage as leverage. No bribe, no actor, no movie. The studio paid up just to keep production moving. Most parents drive their kids to work and wait politely outside. This one parked himself at the negotiating table and ransomed his own son for pocket money. 21. Hiding your own son in a remote off-grid cabin for a week sounds like a kidnapping plot, and it basically was. One desperate stage dad pulled exactly that move to ghost a studio during contract negotiations. He stashed the kid in the wilderness as a human bargaining chip, betting the studio would panic and offer more money to get their little star back. The boy spent days in the woods as leverage. Most parents negotiate raises with a polite phone call. This one negotiated by making his child temporarily disappear. 22. At 7 years old, a child's star signed a binding legal contract naming his parents as his sole financial beneficiaries for the rest of his natural life. Read that again. A first grader who could barely tie his shoes was locked into funding mom and dad forever. They dressed up lifelong exploitation as a simple piece of paperwork and slid it under a kid's crayon. Most parents save up to support their children. This pair flipped the entire arrangement and made their 7-year-old their permanent retirement plan. 23. 50 cents a week. That was the entire allowance one top child actress received while personally generating millions for her family. As she carried the household on her tiny shoulders, her mother went shopping for an entire fleet of luxury cars. The math is almost comedic in its cruelty. The kid earned a fortune and got pocket change, while mom cruised around in vehicles paid for by a child's labor. Most parents reward hard work with a treat. This one rewarded it with 2 quarters and a thank you note nobody wrote. 24. An entire collection of luxurious mink coats, purchased with a little girl's hard-earned movie paycheck. That was one stage mother's idea of fair compensation. Her stated justification was even bolder than the theft itself. She claimed the furs were reimbursement for the pain of childbirth, as if pushing the kid out years earlier entitled her to the kid's whole salary now. The daughter did the acting. Mom kept the wardrobe. Most parents celebrate a child's success with pride. This one celebrated by invoicing her daughter for being born. 25. A fake charity set up entirely in a child's name, used as a money laundering machine by his own father. That was the scheme behind one classic film icon's stolen fortune. Dad funneled every dollar the kid earned into the phony foundation, then legally withdrew it all as his personal corporate salary. The charity helped exactly nobody except him. The boy generated the income and never saw a cent of it. Most parents teach their kids about generosity. This one taught a masterclass in financial fraud wearing a halo. 26. Sedated and fast asleep. A teenage boy never noticed his mother forging his signature onto a brutal 10-year movie contract. That was how one stage mother locked her son into a system he openly despised. While he was knocked out under medication, she signed away an entire decade of his life with a borrowed pen. He woke up legally trapped without ever agreeing to anything. Most parents protect their kids while they sleep. This one used the sleeping hours as the perfect window to commit quiet, calculated forgery. 27. When a child star wrote a best-selling children's book, her reward was being banned from her own launch party. Her parents seized full writing credit, collected every royalty check, and shoved her out of the celebration entirely. The kid did the creative work, and mom and dad walked away with the applause and the cash. Imagine authoring a hit and not even being allowed in the room. Most parents framed their child's achievements proudly on the wall. This pair simply scratched off her name and signed their own. 28. A windowless room nicknamed the Black Box containing nothing but a solid block of ice to sit on. That was the punishment one famous mother used, and somehow the studio approved it. Whenever her daughter misbehaved, the girl got locked inside to perch on freezing ice in total darkness. No light, no warmth, just cold and isolation until mom decided the lesson stuck. Most parents send kids to their room with toys and a bed. This one built a personal dungeon and furnished it with a single melting ice cube. 29. Amphetamines handed to a teenage girl to keep her awake through 18-hour shoot days, with her own mother cheering it on. That was Judy Garland's reality, and Ethel Garland actively helped studio doctors do it. Mom facilitated drugging her daughter to squeeze more labor out of an exhausted child star. The pills kept Judy moving long after her body begged to stop. Most parents fight to protect their kids from substances like that. This one opened the door, held out her hand, and helped pour the prescription. 30. Banning a child from using the bathroom during filming because her costume took too long to reset. That was one ruthless stage dad's brilliant time-saving rule. Her massive Victorian dress required 20 minutes to reassemble, so he simply forbade breaks to protect precious studio minutes. A little girl was forced to hold it for hours while adults chased efficiency. Most parents rush their kids to the restroom the second they ask. This one treated a basic human need like an unacceptable interruption to the shooting schedule. 31. Forcing an 8-year-old to leap off a moving train car so dad could pocket the hazard pay himself. That was one father's idea of a smart financial move. A professional stunt double was available and standard, but hiring one meant splitting the dangerous money. So he shoved his own kid into the stunt instead and kept the extra cash. The boy risked his neck while dad counted bills. Most parents would never let their child near a moving train. This one used his son as a discount daredevil. 32. Thick layers of grease paint smeared over a raging scarlet fever rash, hiding a child burning at 103 degrees. That was one stage mother's solution when her sick son had a complex dance number to shoot. Instead of a doctor and a bed, he got makeup and a call time. She painted over a contagious illness and pushed a feverish kid through demanding choreography. Most parents keep sick children home under a blanket with soup. This one used cosmetics as camouflage and treated a fever like a minor scheduling hiccup. 33. A mom once tried to scrub the freckles off her daughter's face with bleach and a stiff brush because the studio wanted flawless porcelain skin. Spoiler, that is not how freckles work. Every morning the kid got scoured like a dirty dish, her cheeks raw and stinging, while the freckles stubbornly refused to leave. Mom was essentially fighting genetics with cleaning supplies and losing badly. The freckles won every single round. Most parents tell their kids freckles are cute little sun kisses. This one declared war on them with a scrub brush. 34. A single, forgotten line of dialogue earned one child star a slap across the face in a private dressing room. Their father called it resetting their memory. Whenever the kids stumbled on set, Dad would quietly pull them aside and strike them. Convinced pain sharpened recall. The lessons were learned through fear, not encouragement. The child performed terrified of every single line. Most parents gently run through scripts to help kids feel confident. This one used his open hand as a brutal teleprompter and called the bruises a teaching method. 35. Skipping your own high school graduation for a 2-hour shampoo commercial photo shoot. That was the trade one mother forced on her daughter, without a second thought. A milestone the girl would never get back was sacrificed for a hair product promo and a paycheck. While classmates tossed their caps, she posed under studio lights selling suds. Most parents cry happy tears in the graduation bleachers, camera ready. This one decided a shampoo brand mattered more than her daughter's diploma and a once-in-a-lifetime memory. 36. Heavy industrial sleep sedatives stirred secretly into a child's nighttime milk every single night. That was one stage mother's trick for guaranteeing a flawless 6 in the morning call time. To make sure the kid knocked out instantly and woke up on schedule, she drugged the bedtime routine without the child even knowing. A glass of milk became a nightly dose of sedation. Most parents read a story and turn off the light. This one spiked the milk like a bartender and called the chemical knockout a healthy sleep habit. 37. Wire coat hangers triggered the most infamous parental rage in all of old Hollywood history. That was the nightmare Christina Crawford revealed about her mother, the legendary Joan Crawford. According to her account, the sight of a simple wire hanger in a closet could send Joan into a blind, terrifying fury aimed at her adopted children. An ordinary household object became a symbol of dread. Most parents barely notice the hangers in a closet. This one allegedly turned them into the trigger for a meltdown that haunted her daughter for life. 38. Classified newspaper ads offering to give her own children away to whoever wanted them. That was one high-profile actress's chosen parenting tool. Whenever the kids displeased her, she would place mock listings in the local paper, advertising them like unwanted furniture to prove how replaceable they were. Imagine reading the classifieds and spotting yourself for sale. The message was pure psychological terror dressed as a joke. Most parents reassure their kids they're loved and wanted. This one literally typed up an ad to remind them they were not. 39. Affection and dinner handed only to whichever twin booked an acting job that week. That was one stage mother's cold reward system for her two children. She deliberately pitted the siblings against each other, turning love and food into prizes for landing roles. The twin who failed went hungry and ignored, while the winner ate. Childhood became a brutal competition, with the parent holding the trophy. Most parents love their kids equally, no matter what. This one ran her own children like rival contestants, fighting over scraps of her warmth. 40. Every glowing piece of fan mail a young actor received was secretly intercepted and burned by his own mother. That was her method for keeping him completely dependent on her approval. By destroying the praise before he ever saw it, she convinced the boy the public actually hated him, leaving only her opinion to cling to. The world adored him, and he never knew. Most parents proudly save fan letters in a scrapbook forever. This one fed his admiration into a fireplace to keep him emotionally trapped. And grateful. 41. A single bad review in the trade papers got one child actor's entire birthday party canceled, presents and all. That was the punishment waiting whenever a critic was unkind. Their parents would scrap the celebration, march the gifts back to the store, and collect the refunds, treating a kid's special day as performance-based pay. The child learned that love depended entirely on good press. Most parents throw a party no matter what the world says. This one tied a birthday to box office buzz and revoked it on demand. 42. Fake romantic dates with much older actors, staged for a teenage starlet to feed the gossip columns. That was the scheme her parents cooked up for headlines. They forced their daughter into highly publicized fake relationships, purely to generate tabloid chatter and keep her name circulating. A kid was paraded around as bait for scandal she never chose. The romance was scripted. The discomfort was real. Most parents fiercely guard their teen from creepy publicity stunts. This one arranged them personally and called the manufactured gossip excellent career strategy. 43. Faking a dramatic heart attack on the spot or claiming she just swallowed poison. That was one stage mother's go-to move whenever her child mentioned quitting acting for normal school. The instant the kid expressed any desire for a regular life, mom would collapse into theatrical medical emergencies to guilt them back into line. The performances were Oscar-worthy and completely fake. The fear they caused was very real. Most parents listen calmly when a child wants change. This one staged her own near-death scene to win the argument. 44. Banning a little girl from having imaginary friends, calling it unpaid acting that wasted her creative energy. That was one ultra-strict Hollywood father's actual rule. To him, a child quietly playing pretend was just talent leaking away for free with no copyright and no paycheck attached. So he forbade the harmless fantasies every kid enjoys. Imagine being told your invisible buddy is a business liability. Most parents smile at their child's make-believe world. This one viewed it as wasted inventory and shut the whole imagination down. 45. Waking children in the dead of night to scrub the mansion floors with toothpicks over a single speck of dust. That was one tyrannical actress's idea of housekeeping. The moment she spotted anything less than spotless, her kids were dragged from bed and handed tiny wooden picks to clean acres of flooring. Sleep meant nothing next to her obsession with perfection. The children scrubbed until dawn while she watched. Most parents tackle a mess with a quick mop themselves. This one weaponized cleanliness and turned bedtime into forced labor. 46. Locked inside a private trailer with a tutor and forbidden from speaking to a single normal kid. That was one starlet's daily reality, engineered to protect her box office appeal. Her mother feared ordinary children might dilute the magic, so she sealed the girl away from any outside influence. No friends, no playgrounds, just isolation behind a trailer door. The kid grew up surrounded by adults and silence. Most parents encourage their children to make friends. This one treated friendship like a contagious threat to a profitable brand. 47. Aggressive Dobermans patrolling the property, not to keep intruders out, but to stop a teenage daughter from escaping. That was one paranoid Hollywood father's security setup. The guard dogs circled the estate as a living fence, ensuring his valuable star couldn't slip away to see her friends. Home became a beautifully landscaped prison with teeth. The girl was trapped behind her own front gate. Most parents get a dog so the kids have a loyal companion. This one's weaponized the pets and pointed them inward at his own child. 48. Every mirror in the entire house removed, so a daughter could only see herself in approved studio headshots. That was one stage mother's bizarre control tactic. By stripping the home of reflections, she made sure the girl never glimpsed her real face. Only the heavily edited, glamorized version mom permitted. The child lost track of what she actually looked like. Identity itself became something mom curated. Most parents hang mirrors so kids learn confidence in their own reflection. This one erased the real face entirely and replaced it with retouched lies. 49. Every toy and comic book a child owned, hauled away and trashed by his father because relaxation forgets script pages. That was the man's stated philosophy. He swept the boy's entire collection into the garbage, declaring that anything fun loosened the mind and threatened memorization. Play was the enemy of profit in this household. A kid's whole joy vanished overnight in a trash bag. Most parents fill a room with toys to spark imagination. This one cleared it out and replaced childhood with nothing but lines to rehearse. 50. Forced to leave her personal diary unlocked on the kitchen table every night, so mom could edit out un-Hollywood thoughts. That was one teenage girl's reality. Her mother demanded full access to her private writing, then literally crossed out any feelings that didn't fit the marketable image. Even her secret diary belonged to the brand. There was no corner of her mind left truly her own. Most parents respect a teen's locked journal as sacred. This one treated it like a script in need of heavy revision. 51. Every window in a luxury estate screwed permanently shut, trapping a high-earning child actor inside his own home. That was one father's solution to his fear of the kid running away. Rather than address why his son might want to flee, he simply sealed the house like a vault and removed any chance of escape. Fresh air came second to protecting the family asset. The boy lived behind glass he could never open. Most parents child-proof a home for safety. This one prison proofed it to guard an investment. 52. Before a 1-hour playdate could happen, the neighbor kid's parents had to sign a non-disclosure agreement and a financial liability waiver. That was the legal gauntlet one mother demanded. A simple afternoon of childhood fun came wrapped in contracts usually reserved for corporate deals. Other families likely just walked away rather than signed paperwork to let their kid play. The child star's social life shrank to nothing. Most parents swapped phone numbers and waved goodbye. This one handed out legal documents and called it a normal playdate. 53. Public playgrounds completely off limits because a scraped knee might damage the studio's physical asset. That was one stage dad's reasoning for banning his son from the swings. To him, the boy wasn't a child who needed to run and tumble. He was valuable property that couldn't risk a bruise. So normal play got outlawed in the name of pristine close-ups. Skinned knees terrified this father more than a sad childhood. Most parents pushed their kids on the swings for fun. This one saw a slide as a liability. 54. Snipping the landline phone cords in a daughter's bedroom so she couldn't talk to her castmates, unsupervised. That was one mother's quiet act of sabotage. By cutting the wires, she guaranteed every conversation passed through her control, leaving the teen unable to reach friends and friends of it. Connection itself was something mom rationed and policed. The girl's own room became a dead zone by design. Most parents trust their teen with a phone to stay social. This one took scissors to the cord and called the silence good supervision. 55. Hiding her own newborn in an orphanage, then later adopting back her biological daughter to dodge a career-ending scandal. That was the staggering secret of Loretta Young. After secretly giving birth to Clark Gable's child, she arranged to reclaim the girl as an adoption, masking the truth for decades. A daughter grew up never knowing her real origin story. Image mattered more than honesty. Most parents would move heaven and earth to keep their child close. This one orchestrated an elaborate cover-up and called her own kid adopted. 56. Convincing her adopted son he was a misplaced royal prince from Europe, destined to repay his kingdom through American movie millions. That was one stage mother's wild fabrication. She invented an entire royal bloodline to motivate the boy, dangling fake nobility to keep him reigning in Hollywood. He chased a crown that never existed, working for a kingdom made of pure imagination. The fantasy was a leash dressed as a destiny. Most parents tell bedtime stories that end at lights out. This one built a fake monarchy to control her kid. 57. Telling a daughter her father died in a war when he actually lived right down the street, banned from ever visiting. That was one mother's lie, to keep the girl laser-focused on acting. She manufactured a tragic war death to eliminate any distraction, while the very alive dad sat blocks away, forbidden contact. The child grieved a man who was eating breakfast nearby. Truth was sacrificed for career focus. Most parents protect a child's bond with both parents. This one staged a fake funeral in the kid's heart. 58. Telling a perfectly healthy, athletic teenager every single morning that she was clinically obese. That was one mother's daily ritual to keep her daughter aggressively competitive in modeling. There was nothing medically wrong with the girl, yet mom drilled a cruel lie into her at sunrise to fuel insecurity and ambition. The mirror said one thing, mom said another, and mom won. A fit kid was convinced she was failing. Most parents build their child's confidence at breakfast. This one served self-loathing alongside the cereal every day. 59. Convincing his son he suffered from a rare, completely fictional heart defect that required staying close and acting to fund imaginary medicine. That was one stage father's elaborate hoax. He invented a fake illness to chain the boy to him, claiming the kid's earnings paid for treatments that didn't exist. Fear of a phantom condition kept the son obedient and working. The diagnosis was a leash, the cure was a scam. Most parents rush a sick child to real doctors. This one prescribed lies and billed his own son. 60. Changing a daughter's legal birthday so many times for child labor loopholes that she didn't learn her real age until 30. That was the paperwork chaos one Hollywood mother created. Each tweak squeezed more work out of the kid by dodging age restrictions until the actual birth date vanished into a pile of forgeries. A grown woman discovered she'd been a mystery to herself for decades. Her own age became negotiable. Most parents circle a child's true birthday with pride. This one rewrote it whenever the schedule demanded. 61. Legally erasing an older brother's name from every family press release the instant he quit show business. That was one set of parents' brutal response to a child choosing a different path. When the eldest walked away from acting, mom and dad scrubbed him from the public record and acted as if he had never been born. A living son became an official ghost. Loyalty to the brand outranked blood. Most parents support a kid who chases a new dream. This one treated departure as a betrayal worth deleting from history. 62. Convincing a child actor that a witch had cursed the entire family, and only an Oscar could break the spell. That was one superstitious Hollywood mother's manipulation masterpiece. She wove a supernatural fairy tale to terrify her kid into chasing awards, framing a golden statue as the cure for an imaginary hex. The boy worked himself ragged, battling a curse that lived only in mom's imagination. Magic was just a guilt trip in costume. Most parents read fairy tales for fun. This one wrote one to weaponize her child's fear. 63. Hiding a daughter's massive trust fund and telling her she was deeply in debt to the studio instead. That was one father's lie to keep her working forever. While a fortune sat untouched in her name, he convinced the girl she owed money she'd never repay, ensuring she never dared to stop. Phantom debt became invisible chains. She labored to escape a hole that didn't exist. Most parents safeguard a child's savings and celebrate the security. This one buried the good news and invented bad news to trap her. 64. Calling the police and falsely reporting a kidnapping when her adult daughter simply tried to marry the man she loved. That was one stage mother's reaction to losing control. Rather than accept the wedding, she claimed the groom had abducted her child, weaponizing law enforcement to sabotage a grown woman's happiness. The marriage threatened mom's grip, so mom dialed 911. Love became a fake crime scene. Most parents help plan their daughter's wedding with joy. This one tried to have the groom arrested at the altar. 65. Paying off an adult daughter's maids and chauffeurs to secretly report every private conversation back to mom. That was one ruthless Hollywood mother's surveillance operation. Even after her child was fully grown, she planted spies among the household staff, buying loyalty so no word escaped her notice. Privacy ended the moment a paycheck changed hands. The daughter lived watched in her own home by people she trusted. Most parents respect a grown child's independent life. This one ran an espionage ring staffed by the help and called it caring. 66. Ordering his newlywed adult daughter to get divorced immediately because a pregnancy would ruin her action contract. That was one stage father's cold business calculation. He saw her marriage as a threat to a multi-picture deal, so he demanded she end it before a baby could interfere with the shooting schedule. Her personal life was just a line item to protect. Family meant nothing next to a film franchise. Most parents celebrate a daughter's new marriage with joy. This one tried to cancel it for the box office. 67. Using studio connections to blacklist his own adult son from getting roles, all because the kid refused to hire him as manager. That was one powerful Hollywood father's revenge. When the son wanted independence, Dad torched his career out of pure spite, leveraging industry muscle to slam every door shut. A parent who should have opened doors nailed them closed instead. Ego mattered more than his child's livelihood. Most parents cheer a kid's success from the sidelines. This one became the obstacle standing in the way. 68. Evicting his own son from his own apartment complex through a sneaky legal property loophole. That was one father's punishment after the actor tried to fire him as financial agent. Furious at losing the gig, Dad exploited a technicality to throw his child out onto the street, turning a business dispute into homelessness. Firing Dad came with a steep, personal price. Shelter became a weapon. Most parents would give a struggling kid a place to stay. This one used the lease as a tool for revenge. 69. Locking her daughter's Academy Award trophy inside a bank vault, refusing to hand it over unless the girl agreed to a sequel. That was one stage mother's hostage scheme. The kid won the highest honor in film, and mom seized the statue as leverage, dangling it like a ransom to force more work. An Oscar meant to celebrate achievement became a bargaining chip behind steel. The prize belonged to mom's agenda. Most parents proudly display a child's trophy on the mantle. This one imprisoned it in a safe deposit box. 70. Forcing a 21-year-old woman to keep wearing ruffled toddler dresses in public to protect a profitable, innocent image. That was one mother's branding decision. Years past childhood, the daughter was dressed like a baby for the cameras, all to preserve a marketable, naive persona the public adored. Adulthood was forbidden because childhood paid better. Growing up became a threat to the bottom line. Most parents help a young woman find her own grown-up style. This one froze her in frills for the sake of the brand. 71. Legally keeping the power to veto any movie his adult son wanted to make, then rejecting masterpieces on purpose to force him into garbage. That was one overbearing father's controlling grip. He held contractual approval over every role, deliberately turning down great scripts so the kid would take high-paying trash instead. Money beat artistry every single time. The son's career was steered straight into the gutter by design. Most parents cheer a child chasing meaningful work. This one sabotaged the good projects and cashed in on the bad ones. 72. Boycotting her own daughter's wedding, then selling a fake heartbreak interview to a tabloid that very same afternoon. That was one Hollywood mother's double betrayal. While the bride celebrated without her, mom was cashing in, peddling a fabricated sob story about being shut out to whoever would print it. She skipped the joy and monetized the absence. Grief became a paycheck on the happiest day of her kid's life. Most parents cry tears of pride at a wedding. This one cried fake ones for the press for profit. 73. Throwing actual punches at a director because a 6-year-old's name appeared 2 inches too small on the movie poster. That was one stage Dad's idea of advocacy. Enraged that his daughter's billing wasn't big enough, he turned a font-sized dispute into a full physical brawl on set. Inches of text mattered more to him than the chaos he caused. Ego escalated into fists over typography. Most parents quietly ask for a name correction if it bothers them. This one settled it like a barroom fight. 74. Refusing to let his son step onto set until the studio provided a dressing room exactly 1 foot larger than the co-stars. That was one mother's bizarre measuring contest. She literally demanded a tape measure, prove her kid's room 1 by 12 precise inches before allowing any work to begin. Pride hinged on square footage no one would ever notice. A production stalled over a single foot of carpet. Most parents are grateful their kid has a room at all. This one held the whole movie hostage over inches. 75. Leaping out from behind a curtain in a terrifying monster mask to scare an authentic look of surprise onto his kid's face. That was one father's directing technique for a horror scene. Rather than coach a reaction, he ambushed his own child seconds before the camera rolled, harvesting real terror for the shot. The fear was genuine because the threat felt real. A jump scare became a parenting strategy. Most parents comfort a frightened child immediately. This one manufactured the fright on purpose and pointed a lens at it. 76. Demanding the studio buy her child a fully grown live elephant as a bonus payment for a successful movie. That was one wild stage mother's negotiation. Not a raise, not a trust fund, an actual exotic elephant delivered as compensation for the shoot. She treated a major film studio like a Circus Supply catalog and expected them to comply. Logic left the room entirely. The request was as absurd as it was enormous. Most parents ask for fair pay in dollars. This one wanted hers in livestock the size of a car. 77. Getting a visionary director fired simply because the man didn't offer his child a prominent seat at the lunch table. That was one powerful Hollywood father's pettiness in action. Offended by the seating chart, he pulled strings until a talented filmmaker lost the job entirely over where a kid ate sandwiches. A meal arrangement ended a career. Spite operated with terrifying efficiency. Most parents shrug off a minor snub and move on. This one nuked a director's livelihood because his kid sat in the wrong chair at lunch. 78. Secretly sewing tiny lead weights into the hem of a rival child's costume so the kid would trip during a live dance. That was one stage mother's act of sabotage against someone else's son or daughter. She rigged a competitor's dress to make them stumble and look clumsy on stage, all to make her own child shine brighter. Cruelty extended past her family to other people's kids. Winning meant making another child fall. Most parents teach fair play and good sportsmanship. This one weaponized a costume to rig the show. 79. Barricading himself out inside a studio executive's office and refusing to leave until rewrote the ending so his son's character wouldn't die. That was one father's hostage-style protest over a script. He treated a fictional plot point like a life or death emergency, occupying the room until the writers caved and saved the kid's character. A movie ending became a siege. Drama off camera dwarfed anything on it. Most parents simply share an opinion about a story they dislike. This one held an office captive to change it. 80. Packing thousands of dollars in custom movie costumes into her own car trunk, claiming it as payment for emotional labor. That was one mother's brazen theft from the studio. She loaded up expensive wardrobe pieces and drove off, justifying the heist as fair compensation for her motherly suffering. Emotional labor apparently came with a costume department price tag. The audacity rivaled the dollar value. Grand theft wardrobe, billed as therapy. Most parents return borrowed items without a second thought. This one treated the costume rack like a personal severance package. 81. Forcing his son to legally change his last name to match a famous Hollywood dynasty they had no connection to whatsoever. That was one stage father's scheme to fake fame by association. He wanted the public tricked into believing the boy belonged to acting royalty, so he rebranded his own kid as a counterfeit relative of stars. Identity itself became marketing fraud. A child's name turned into a knockoff label. Most parents passed down a name with pride and meaning. This one swapped it for a brand he hoped would sell. And there you have it, 81 parents who proved old Hollywood wasn't a dream factory. It was a beautifully lit crime scene, an era where kids signed away their lives at age 7, moms forged contracts on sleeping teenagers, dads demanded elephants, and everyone smiled for the cameras while quietly ruining a child's spine with a broomstick. Fake romances, stolen fortunes, vaulted Oscars, and corsets on 12-year-olds, all in the name of glamour. Honestly, the wildest part is that any of these people were allowed near children. So drop a comment telling me which story made your jaw hit the floor, smash that like button, and subscribe to Dumb Old Hollywood. Because somehow, there are way more of these, and they only get dumber from here.